What's up guys, this is Wences, welcome back to my channel, and today we're talking about ENFPs and pretty much the relationship between INFJs and ENFPs. I have already done a video on this a while ago, so it's like 3 or 4 years ago, and if you want to see the basics, if you want to hear like the common dynamics between both types, watch this video. But this one is a step further, so we're talking, as I said, 3-4 years later. I've learned so much within the last years and since I did this video, and there are like so many new experiences I had with ENFPs, and just like things I've learned, and just realizing who actually is an ENFP. So I've had an ENFP friend for over 10 years now, and I never ever realized that she was an ENFP, but it has a lot to do with that we didn't have a lot of contact within like the last year, so to say. We had a lot of contact 10 years ago when I wasn't into MBTI, and now the last years we had a lot of contact. So it was really interesting for me to kind of like reevaluate the relationship, because when I was talking about the ENFP before, I had ENFPs in my life, but not that close. And since like having this relationship with her, it just it just like opened my eyes, and I saw so many benefits in that relationship. And also like some stuff where I felt, oh, okay, we're actually stepping on each other's toes and we have to be careful in this area. So I wanted to share this with you. So it all started, as I said, like over 10 years ago. We both went to Bali separately to study there for a semester, and we met there and we kind of hit it off. Like that was the time when I had a lot of a very intense relationship with my INFP friend at home. And so when I met her, it was kind of home. It was still like an intuitive feeler, and I kind of like clinged on to her. So back at that point, I always used to do that. I always had people that I clinged on to that I didn't feel that attached to. So I did this for the time being, not thinking that I'm going to be in need of that relationship when I get back or anything like this. So it was really for the moment, and then I could just go back and things would change. And differently than the INFP, who I knew at the moment I went back, she kind of like was like, why am like that I was missing. She like really felt that. With the ENFP, we were so much alike. The moment we kind of came back here, everybody started doing their own life, and we never really missed each other to that point. Every time we thought of each other or we saw each other, especially after those years, it's like such a benefit, but we have to actively make it a point to make it happen. None of us is like, attached to this or missing this, because we're both kind of in our separate worlds and we're parallel to each other. And every time we get together, there's just a lot of benefits that come out of it. But if we're not careful, if we're not making it a point to stay together, we're just not going to stay together, because we're like completely, there's not one that is like, let's say I'm the one and the other one attaches to this one or anything like this. So it's very that way and parallel, but it's awesome. Like it really makes me most excited. So with my ENFP friend, when it comes to all my friends, I party the most. So when we meet, we just have fun all the time. Like it's just amazing. We talk about a lot of deep issues as well, but we have fun. It's very, very lighthearted, and everybody does their own thing, so to say. We just combine it. So when we like met a couple of years ago, we started talking about traveling again. So this year we went to Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar, and we planned it, and everything that was INFJ and ENFP kind of came together. So I was the one planning for the flights, for the hotels. I did all the planning of of all of that stuff. And I was really happy with that. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I got excited about, and bring all the, let's say, luxury to it, the SE component. Like I made that a point. She, on the other hand, was the one who was reading, travel guides, the one who said, we're gonna see this and this and this. And she kind of like, it's this exact thing of me planning and having like the J aspect of it in my external world, and kind of like planning. And for her, it's more like, let's broaden out. Let's see that much. Let's see all of those things. And that was why it worked so well. We kind of like just made sure that we everybody had their part, and when we got together, the combination of everything worked just so great. Excuse me. But of course it brought like its pitfalls, or like things that didn't work so well. So I, for example, have much more rules than her in general. So I feel like, what is the best way to do this? How is the most optimal way to do this in a way of that works the fastest or anything like this? And I'm so much about TI, as in this is my way to do it, that more than once I told her, why do you do this like this? Like, for example, she wanted to look up stuff in her travel guide, and I was like, look it up online, like that's go much faster. And I did this more than once. Or I told her, like, you don't need to use that much things to disinfect your hands. Like, it's just simple things like this. But I did this not realizing that I'm pretty much preaching, like the whole J aspect came out too much, and he just told me, listen, I can do whatever I want, I'm going to do it my way. And I realized what I was doing, that I was actually, dampening her way of thinking, because in the end, she can do whatever she wants. And the fact that she is so free-spirited is what I like about this so much. So I realized what I was, doing wrong in the relationship, and how we can optimize it, and so on. At the same time, things that made me a little bit more uncomfortable, and I still, to this point, it's not like I just tell her straight out, but she's a lot messier than I am. So I'm more about having structure in my life, having everything, taken care of. And she's, all over the place. Her car is messy. Her apartment is like this. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and she doesn't mind. It doesn't really affect her life like this. But, and of course, I feel bad sometimes, because I tell my other friend that I feel guilty because I haven't told her about this, but at the same time, I'm telling my friend. And like, it's still a difficult situation, but I know it's like, who cares? It's not like we live together. It's just something like, if she's fine with this, that's perfectly fine with me. And, like, we just accept each other for what we bring, and understand that we're different in certain areas, and that's okay. Another thing she's rather much better than me is just meeting new people. So when we're together, I tend to be the one who's more like in the background, and who isn't that open to people. Because of course, from my perspective, it's like, why do you talk to that person? That person obviously is, boring, or that person is obviously, not respecting you enough, or whatever it is. Like, I look at it, with good intentions, but in general, there's a lot more judgment going on. And if you're with an like ENFP, but also with an ENTP, and you have, and either, it's just way easier. So in general, ENFPs are way less judgmental than I am, for example. But at the same time, like, I feel that she can learn a lot from me, being more not judgmental, but kind of like taking my lessons, like learning from mistakes I've made and not repeat them again. So every time we're together and we do talk about relationships or things we've gone through, it is, on the one hand, she's making me be more open to new people, but at the same time, she learns when I tell it, well, listen, you went down this road, it didn't help you, so make a cut and look somewhere else, because this is not leading you anywhere. So this is how we both benefit from this. Another thing, like, I can just see like big differences right away is, like, I think I travel a lot, like not a lot, but like I always thought, well, I'm like, in comparison to a lot of people, I do see the world a lot. Like in the last 10 years, I've been to Venezuela, I've been to Mexico, I've been to the Canarian Islands, I've been to, Asia multiple times, I've been to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai, like everywhere. This is pretty much a fraction of what she has seen and where she has gone. So this adventure thing, this NE, is like so prevalent, and I think it's even so much more prevalent than, let's say, ENTPs in a lot of ways, because in the ENTPs, they want to have different, understand different things and be in different systems and all of that. But with combination with the FI part, you kind of feel like she wants to add emotions to her life, and she wants to add them through experiencing new things. So she has been, 5 times to Africa, Canada, South America, everything, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, like all of it. And she does this constantly, and it's part of her being and like what she believes in and what makes her happy. And it's so good for me to have that in my life. See, I always make it a point to have different kinds of people around me that I benefit in so many different areas. And, I value our friendship, I value our fun, but on top of everything, I value that she makes me see the world more and makes me like go into my NE. I said this, like, if you're not into like socionics, you think like, okay, INFJs only have those 4 functions, but if you go on extroverted mode, you do still use your NE as well. It's, you most of the time you ignore it if you're more into NI, but if you go more into your extroverted functions and you kind of like see, okay, let me do this. I don't want to stay in the same place and not see new things and not, broaden my horizon. And if you have like an ENFP friend like this, it just helps you so much to kind of like see the world differently and to to experience things in such a way. And that also, like, combined with TE is very interesting. So my friend is very successful. Like, she works at a big company and she does a lot of things using her TE. So she is in the human aspect of it. She does like the development of the company when it comes to like managers and so on, but everything she does it from the TE standpoint of this is a system, this works, how can we work with this system? And I have no understanding of this whatsoever. So being around her, I realized, okay, there are certain things I just have to do, that if I just am a little bit more open to this and kind of see, well, those are the things that work and I kind of like do them, it just helps me in everything I do. So for example, I tend to always just want to find, a system. I want to realize, okay, what kind of videos do I have to do so people like them? And so I'm so focused on finding the perfect video, on doing everything, that I forget that me growing and me being better is actually, me doing videos and not thinking so much about finding the right system, but maybe to do even more videos and to kind of like just get it out there and not be so perfectionistic, but kind of see, well, this is what works. And, this is, if you want to grow, then you kind of have to like, talk to people that what you want to see, what people really want. This might sound like an FE thing, but no, this is a TE thing, understanding that this is what works. So why don't you apply yourself to what works? So this is something I learned from my ENFP friend as well. And I think this is my current take. As I said, I've made it a point to completely make sure at least once a month we see each other, because she doesn't live here. We inspire each other. I inspired her to, exhibit her art and to do all of those things. And every time we come together, it's just so carefree, especially when we travel. As long as you understand that there are differences, you kind of need to have a little bit separation. So I don't believe that if you live together all the time, it will be good for you. You just still need like that space in between. But if you have that and you really take the relationship for what it is, it can like really enrich your life so much. It can make it so beautiful. And especially when you go on adventures together, it's the best thing ever. Okay, I hope that helped you. Let me know your experiences with the INFJ ENFP relationship, and also let me know what kind of video when it comes to this series you want me to do next. Like always, guys, I wish you a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.